What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Canes Insight Daily Podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Happy Friday. Huge official visit weekend. It's already underway. We broke it down last show in depth. Now we're going to take you on some of the inside info that I'm hearing, talking to sources with the bank. I will give you the latest on some names we're trending with, some names that might be trending away. You do not want to miss the bank. Exclusive info for you, the Canes Insight listeners. Also some big news from the portal, both for Canes football and Canes basketball. Simeon Barrow announcing he will return to the Miami Hurricanes. He's not going anywhere. And in fact, he's already here. He's not leaving. And then a big commitment for Miami Hoops with AJ Staten McCray. We'll talk about all that. First, I want to tell you about some folks that are firmly entrenched in Florida, Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life. Pete, let's go. Let's talk about the man of the hour. I feel we've done like 4 shows on this guy this week, but finally we could put it to bed, at least hopefully put it to bed, which is Simeon Barrow. Pete, you have the tweet pulled up. Go ahead and read it when you have it pulled up. It was Simeon Barrow putting the speculation to bed and saying that he will return to Miami.
Yeah, he said there's been a lot of assumptions and rumors about my stance with Miami. I am a Miami Hurricane and concentrating on working hard and this team. Let's get it. And I mean, look, he is right. He never said he never came out and said anything right that he was leaving or anything like that. It was reported, and obviously there was something going on, as you'll get into now. But he finally comes out and clears the air, and he will be a Hurricane this season.
Yeah, look, there was something going on. I compared it to speed dating in The Bachelor on another show, which is these relationships are fast. They're not built over years like recruiting. It's like you jump in the portal and you're on another campus very fast. So the ups and downs of a relationship, communication issues, it's a little trickier than it is with someone where you have more durable relationship, more longstanding communication. So there's some of that going on here, but everybody's moving forward. Again, you never really know, right? No one expected this to happen in the first place. So who knows in that front? But as of now, everybody's moving forward, expecting this guy to be a Miami Hurricane. I think that's what makes sense for everybody. And he has a big opportunity to go to the NFL. Miami really needs a guy like him inside. Makes sense for everybody. They're moving forward. No hard feelings. Hopefully, doesn't sound like there are. Everybody's trying to win an ACC championship. That's the portal news, a relief, right? But now we have some just exciting news in the portal, which is that guard AJ Staten McCray from Samford committed to Miami Hurricanes. We're really a swingman, Pete. I know we've talked about adding a guy like this. Seems like a perfect fit. Tell us about the addition.
Yeah, nice versatile wing, just looking at the numbers. Well, first of all, legit 6'5", 195, 200 pounds, looks like a very good size as a versatile wing, which is exactly what this team needed, right? 41% from three-point range, really a nice catch and shoot guy. And defensively, this is a guy who has now played 4 seasons of college basketball, missed his sophomore year, most of it with injury, but has started 30-plus games each of the last 2 seasons. And 2 years ago, averaged 1.8 steals a game. Last year, 1.6 steals a game, which, I mean, those are pretty ridiculous numbers there. You're talking about a guy who's the last 2 seasons, 44% or better from field goal range. And this was a guy who comes from Samford, who was a tournament team last season. I think he's just a nice addition, probably going to be coming off the bench, D, but you now look at this roster having, taken shape for the most part. And it's a very, very interesting mix of players altogether. Obviously, completely turned over roster. You have Nigel Pack and Matthew Cleveland returning. Jaleel Bethea, we expect him to start as a top 5 player, potentially coming out in the draft next year, right? And then Jalen Blackman coming from Stetson, big-time scorer. Where will he fit in? And some of these young guys, Divine Ugochukwu, just picked him up from the Houston area. Austin Swartz was a big-time pickup. And then, of course, East Carolina, Brandon Johnson at forward spot, Lynn Kidd at center, Virginia Tech. We got to see how it all comes together, D, but you have some real depth, I think, potentially, with a bunch of guys who we haven't seen it at the ACC level just yet, all of them, but all have had varying degrees of success at the collegiate level, and I think should be able to translate it here to Miami.
Yeah, look, we're going to break down the entire team now the dust has settled. Next week's show, we're going to have a full kind of Canes basketball breakdown of the roster. But this particular pickup, we talked about it after the Blackman pickup, which we said this team needs role players, guys that are going to come in, play a role, be comfortable with the role, and do dirty work and not, try to be the star. And I think the last two additions with Huey, big guy, big broad-shouldered guy who's going to come in, rebound, play defense, be an athletic guy, limited on offense, but does enough. You compared him to Jakiri. And then, with Staten McRae, the shooting, the body, watching the highlights, this guy's got strength. He's got strong hands. He's 6'5". He's a real wing at the college level. And then the shooting, 62 effective field goal percentage on catch and shoot, 91st percentile. He's going to stand there and catch and shoot, which is what we need. I was not, I was not like the biggest Wooga hype guy. I thought he tried to replace Isaiah Wong when he really was more of a role player and a skill set wise. Great shooter, could have been a great defender if he committed to it and worked on his body a little bit more. But, he wanted to be Isaiah Wong. And I think this guy is going to be able to replace Wooga's shooting. He's going to give you better defense, more stronger player, more core strength, just a better defender, and then not have to impede on guys like Nigel Pack and Jaleel Bethea when they try to be the Isaiah Wong, be the scorer, be the guy that really breaks down defenses. He's going to sit there, shoot threes. He does have some production around the basket from what we saw. He's not a horrible finisher by any means. He's just not going to be a guy. I think when they broke down the analytics, his weakest area was pick and roll ball handling, which he doesn't have to do that. He can be ready to shoot while other guys play that role. Love the pickup. Love the last two pickups really for the Canes. Now you have a complete roster where everybody knows their role.
I have a bit of a comparison here from Coach L's early teams, his first great team in Miami. Trey McKinney-Jones, a guy who was a 39%, I just looked it up, 39% career three-point shooter at Miami, averaged 8 points a game, which this guy coming over, AJ coming over from Samford, averaged 11 points a game. You can't expect him to average more than that coming in, but Trey McKinney-Jones averaged 8 points a game, 3.4 rebounds, an assist and a half a game, and was a really good defender, really good spot up three-point shooter for Miami, but played a really important role as a starter in those early Miami teams. I think he could, hopefully bring that sort of role to the table here for this team.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that team. When you mentioned it, I just pulled up the roster. You had guys on that team that played roles. Shane Larkin was the guy. He was handling the ball. He was taking all the clutch shots. He was doing it. Durant Scott played defense, was more of a lankier guard, helped Shane Larkin, but did not try to replace Shane Larkin. Then you had a Trey McKinney-Jones, and then you had a ton of big men between, you had Kaji, Reggie Johnson, Julian Gamble. Right. So, and Gamble wasn't trying to be Reggie Johnson as far as a post scorer. Reggie Johnson probably more similar to what Lynn Kidd might do for you this year. Kenny Kaji was shooting threes. So they all had different little skill sets that fit together. And that to me still, even with all the Final Four, with the Elite Eight, I think this was the best Canes team of all time, that 2013 team as far as the actual team. And it was really very much a team. So hopefully for this Canes team, and we'll break it down more in detail when we do the full show next week, who's going to be the Shane Larkin to be that really, what's the word you use in soccer? Talisman that they always use.
The talisman. That's the main guy right there. You play through him. So
that's what this team kind of needs to find. Pack, Bethea, Blackman. I mean, whoever that guy is, I think it's going to be a nice complementary roster around them. And we'll break that down. But great addition for Canes basketball. Excited about it. So with that said, let's talk about this recruiting weekend for Miami Hurricanes football. You see me wearing the shirt Canes wear. These guys are going to be decked out in Miami gear. If you want to be decked out in Miami gear this summer, caneswear.com or Caneswear in Davie, the physical store, brick and mortar. It is beautiful, multiple TVs, always playing sports. The Heat stuff, Panther stuff, Marlins stuff, and of course, all the Miami Hurricane stuff, including hoops gear at Caneswear or caneswear.com if you are out of state. And you see the hat. Canes Connection had the Zoom call last week, gave all the information I could possibly give, including some stuff I can't say necessarily here because of the public setting, and there's Gators and Knowles lurking. But really appreciate everybody who joined us. If you're not part of Canes Connection and you want to get a video of that and you want to be on the future calls, canesconnection.com. 20% off first month, promo code CIS, and be a part of the solution and get some of these recruits that we are about to talk about. Without further ado, though, let's get to the bank and give you the latest on a bunch of Miami targets, starting with a visitor this weekend, which is Cortez Smith. We talked about him yesterday. He is an offensive lineman, an interior offensive lineman out of Georgia, played left tackle, played center, played guard, but Miami likes him as a center or a guard. He is extremely strong, state champion, and in the shot put, second in the discus, major explosive power, wide guy, only 6'3", but super wide, super powerful. Miami feels that he, along with Susu, the center from Las Vegas, is the best interior offensive lineman in the country. And they would love to pair those two. Cortez Smith is on campus right now, and Miami is in a very good position. Obviously, this weekend has to go well. But I think you're talking about who could be the big targets that could be trending in the positive direction. Cortez Smith is one Miami fans need to store away. Another one from the state of Georgia that Miami fans need to keep an eye on, Jaden Perlotti, very versatile linebacker, committed to Georgia. Another blue chip player, super athletic. We talked about him yesterday. He can get off blocks. He can cover. He used to be a safety. He can run. He can hit. He can tackle. Plays hard. Instant impact guy. Committed to Georgia. Miami has a very good relationship with him. That recruitment is trending in a positive direction. Supposed to visit this weekend. We reported first on CanesInSight that he is moving that to next weekend. I'm told don't read anything into that. That's just a pure scheduling deal. Miami feels good about where they stand. Who knows how it all plays out. This is recruiting. He's committed to another school that happens to be the most dominant program in the country right now. But Miami is doing some good work in this recruitment. Remember, we were the first to report that Nikar was a potential flip candidate from Georgia back last year. People said that we were crazy, ended up flipping to Miami. Jaden Perlotti is a name to keep an eye on. Big-time player will be visiting next weekend. Guy that visited last weekend that Miami has some good momentum with, Jaden Wilkerson, offensive lineman, offensive tackle out of Orlando. 6'6", 330, basketball player, still raw. Just transferred to Orlando Edgewater. He played at smaller schools previously. Now he is at Edgewater, which is a big-time school in Orlando that has produced a lot of college players. Going to be very interesting to see how he plays there. I heard he looked very good in spring. Miami loves this player. Mirabal loves this player as a developmental tackle that could be ready sooner than later. Not going to be an instant impact guy like a Noah, but could develop quickly with his size, with his athleticism. And again, he's going to have his senior year in Orlando. Edgewater, which I think is going to expedite his development. He'll be visiting NC State this weekend. Visited Miami last weekend. Miami trending well. If depending how the NC State visit goes, this could be one that goes in Miami's direction pretty quickly. NC State's a school known for getting guys like this and turning them into very good offensive linemen. Ike Ekonwu, who went to Carolina, top 10 pick. It's not the same kind of player, but similar recruiting ranking. Ended up turning his raw athletic tools into a first-round pick. NC State's very good at that. Mirabal's real good at that. They like Jaden Wilkerson. Keep an eye on that one for Miami fans. Somebody visiting this weekend who's on campus right now, who's another basketball player turned football player with high upside, great frame. Tim Merritt out of Birmingham, Alabama. Played safety in high school. Projects as a corner, 6'2", 180. Track guy, super fast, super explosive. You watch the highlights. You love the upside with this kid. His frame is big time. Chevis Jackson been on him for a while. He's a Mobile, Alabama native. Chevis Jackson, Tim Merritt from Birmingham, Alabama. They have a long-standing relationship. There's another one that's trending in the right direction. He's visiting right now with a good visit. He could be a name to keep an eye on. Another name where I like the trends, Gavin Nix, top 100 player out of IMG, linebacker, originally from the Orlando area. Mentioning that a lot with some of these guys. Multiple Orlando targets. Gavin Nix, originally from there, went to IMG. Looks like he wants to stay in state for college, maybe Notre Dame, but I think in-state's more likely. And I think of those schools, Miami has the best shot right now. They have a great relationship. Derek Nicholson's done an awesome job recruiting Derek Nix. Jonathan Vilma is the comparison I've heard. Not saying he's going to be that good, but in terms of being high IQ on and off the field, a leader on and off the field, that is Gavin Nix. Sideline to sideline guy, can run, super productive, just a pure linebacker with the talent to be a big-time recruit, which he is. Every school wants him, but also the intangibles. He can be an early playing time kind of guy. Miami loves him and is pushing for they love to get a commitment from this player, and he's going to be on campus right now. So keep an eye on that. One name I'm highlighting, not because we have particular momentum with him, although we had a great visit with him last weekend, but just because he's rising on our boards. Remember, it's a two-way street of the evaluation. Aiden Anding, the corner out of Ruston, Louisiana. I am told that this dude is a must-get. That was the words used. Must get. He's not rated as a 5-star kind of guy. He played basketball for most of his athletic career. Recent convert to football. Has been tearing up the camps. The more we see from Aiden Anding, the more we like this player, and the higher he rises on the board. Miami is pushing hard for him. Texas in the mix. Arkansas in the mix. Does he want to leave? That's the question with him. Just distance, but he's visited Miami multiple times, and Miami really, really, really loves this player. One other guy I want to mention, and I've mentioned him a lot, but every time I say, hey, who looks good? Who's looking good at workouts? Who's standing out? I keep getting the same answer. Jordan Lyle, the running back from St. Thomas Aquinas. You may be bored from hearing about him so much, but I'm just giving it to you like I get it. I ask who's standing out. That everybody says Jordan Lyle is a real dude. Size, 200 plus, looks put together. The attitude, the movement in drills, the senior film with the pads on, running the ball. This is a guy who could have an impact very similar to Mark Fletcher last year. And with Mark Fletcher, everybody wants Mark Fletcher on the field. He showed a ton last year. He's a great player, great kid, great size, what you want at that position. But as he comes back from an injury that you do not want to rush, which is a foot injury, you want to take that one easy because it can have setbacks very easily. The emergence of a guy like Jordan Lyle is huge. It allows you to be very conservative with a Mark Fletcher. Allows you to let Elijah Lofton play tight end, which I think makes more sense. He played running back for the second half of spring. Elijah Lofton did because you were so thin at the running back position. Much better to play him at tight end, which he played in the first half of spring. He was making one-handed catches, running routes, practicing blocking every day, things that you want to see in his development, craftsmanship, right? Working routes every day, working your hands every day, working your blocking every day. Running back's a much more instinctual position. I'd rather him practice elsewhere and then run when needed. Jordan Lyle allows you to keep Elijah Lofton at a tight end, allows you to be careful with a Mark Fletcher. Of course, you're bringing in Damian Martinez, who is going to be the bell cow. But now you talk about a 1-2 punch, Martinez and Lyle. Running back's a position you could play early. Lyle's in there. You still have Chris Johnson for the speed element. Still have A.J. Allen, who had some very nice moments for Miami last year. 2 seasons in a row with the yard per carry over 5.0 for A.J. Allen. Hurdle the defender, had some nice highlights. Those 3 or 4, when you include Chris Johnson as a speed threat, they allow you to be careful with this running back room. That depth is really starting to pick up with Jordan Lyle emerging as a real dude. So that's the bank. It's going to be an exciting weekend of recruiting. And P, what's your final thoughts here?
It's just still crazy to me how much this cycle's been pushed up in the calendar, and now 2 weekends in a row where it's like you have a bunch of kids here that look, they obviously want at this point of the process, but the guys have to be pretty committed to it at this point too, because I understand the way this staff operates is that once you commit, that they're not trying to have you mess around with other schools either. So just how much the calendar has been moved up is still it's crazy to me. But
yeah, a lot of activities, by the way, not just the visits. You also have the OT7 finals in Tampa, which are the 7-on-7 finals. I will be there unless my wife changes her mind at the last minute and makes me do something down here. I will be in Tampa. See guys like Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown, probably the 2 best receivers in the country. I want to see Jamie French myself. He's one of those guys I haven't seen in person, so I'd love to see how he stacks up. Is he truly that elite guy? I would love to see how he looks. Jeremiah Smith was pretty easy to compare to others. He was a much higher level guy. Where's Jamie French stack up? I'd like to see him in person on that front. Ben Hanks, top of Miami's board at corner. We're going to be seeing a lot of these athletes in person this weekend. Also, Miami has their Legends Camp, which has shifted, right, because of the calendar changes you talked about, Pete. Now that your official visits are in the summer, your 7-on-7s in the summer, that's more of a kind of like an underclassmen-focused event. Still have big-time recruits or former players coming down to that Legends event, but it's not like the Paradise Camp, which was really a showcase. You're having official visits during that time period, so the calendar's kind of different. So we'll see how that event goes. I'm sure it'll be a pretty unique experience for the players that participate. You always want to lay groundwork for future recruiting classes, while at the same time, you got OVs all the way up until that camp, right? Friday, right now, Saturday. I just saw a picture from Dalen Upshaw's visit. He posted on social media. They were showing John Cena versus The Rock when John Cena threw the U up in the crowd on I believe it was on Monday Night Raw. So educating the kids properly on some of the tradition of the University of Miami. Dalen Upshaw, by the way, another guy, wide receiver from Phoenix City, Alabama, super productive, 1,100 yards last year. I asked some sources about him yesterday because I was watching the film. We went over it yesterday during the visit, the visit preview where we went through every single recruit. Upshaw was one that the more I watched this film, I'm like, why is this guy a 3-star? This guy's unbelievable. And I talked to some people about Upshaw, and Miami really, really likes that player. He's another one. I didn't mention him in the bank, but he's somebody that Miami really likes. Going to visit Florida, visit UCF, but it'll be interesting to see how that visit this weekend goes. He's already posting stuff, and I'm sure he'll have a great weekend. The weather's beautiful. It's going to be a great weekend for the Miami Hurricanes.
Go Canes. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel.
Like and subscribe. CanesInsight.com forums, pumping content every day, 6.9 million posts and counting. Be a part of it. Go Canes.
Yeah, this an insight to the Canes, and you know we ain't playing no games. Joaquin said dominate, so that's what we do. Home of the legends and 7th floor crew, down in Miami where hurricanes brew. You here for the rumors, we bring you the news, cause it's all about the you. And nobody do it like CanesInSight. 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 It's CanesInSight.